Hello everyone, welcome back to KD Code. Today we are learning Numpy, the library that makes Python up to 100 times faster for numerical calculations. Right now, in today's video, we learn about what is Numpy and why we use it, and how we create Numpy arrays. Okay, alright. So let's talk about Numpy, why it is even exist. Imagine you got two store prices values, store A price values and store B prices. Now you have to sum that up, like first value of store A and first value of store B. You have to add up corresponding values like that. You have to add up from start to end of the array, right? Now the first thing is you use a for loop to iterate over each value and add that up and append the each value that is summed up into a new list, and then you print the list, right? Now consider another case where you apply the discount to the prices, right? In the same way you just iterate through the prices of store A and apply 0.9, so that is 10% discount, right? You just print it. But there are many for loops here, and we have to use indexing, and we have to sum that up and append manually to the another list, right? This is a tedious and very slow task. Now by using NumPy, let's see how we can speed up this process. First of all, if you want to convert this Python list to NumPy, you have to use np.array. Let's discuss about the creation of np arrays in the later session. Let's just see the flow, why the NumPy is faster and why we have to use it. Okay, so this is how we create it. And if you want to add that up, each corresponding value, the prices, you can just use plus symbol here between store A prices and store B prices. And you get the total prices here. That's it, guys. No tedious for loops, no indexing, and no appending manually. You just have to do A plus B, something like that. And you have to store it in the variable. So the total prices will be stored in a form of list again, right? Same for discounted prices as well. You can just multiply the whole array with 0.9. That will be the discounted prices. You can see it here. Now you can ask me how it is faster. Do we have any proof? Something like that. Now to test that, I have imported that time and just use a simple addition operation. First I have done it without using NumPy, and then I did it using NumPy, right? So I took the millions of numbers for this addition, and you see the Python list has 0.06 seconds, and NumPy arrays, it has only 0.01 seconds of time to calculate these values, to compute these values, right? So the NumPy is 3.8 times faster. This is only for simple basic addition operation, right? But if you want to do some complex function, right, then you will get a very faster computation time rather than using only Python list, right? So that's why NumPy is very powerful and faster. So why it is faster? I can tell you three reasons it is faster. First one is memory layout. NumPy stores every value in continuous sequential manner rather than messy random addresses, right? So that's why it will be faster in accessing the memory and do the calculations. And second one is it uses only one type. NumPy forces to store the values in the NumPy array to be only one type. So if you consider Python, we can store string, numbers, integers, floats, boolean, everything in a single list, right? But even though you provide all these different types in the NumPy array, it will convert everything to the string. Or if you provide only numbers, everything will be converted to float. So NumPy considers forces us to create the arrays in such a manner that it has only one type, right? That's why it is faster. And beneath NumPy code, it is a super optimized C code. That's why it do the computation or calculations in very optimized and faster manner than normal Python list. Okay, so that is why we have to use NumPy in data science or machine learning. We excessively see using these NumPy arrays in different other packages as well, like pandas, matplotlib, everything, right? Let's go ahead and see the basic functions of how do we create these NumPy arrays. Okay, the first function is np.array. We create an array using np.array by passing a list, Python list to it, right? A simple Python list you can provide to this np.array, and it will be converted to numpy.ndarray, right? Now there are three properties of this ndarray you have to remember. The first one is ndim, second one shape, third one size. What is ndim? The dimensions of the array. Like if you see it here, it is only having one dimension, right? It is having only one row of values. There is no second row, third row, like that. So this is only one dimension. And shape, if you see, it is three values, three columns, and one row, right? 3 cross 1. And size, it is only having three values, 10, 20, 30. So it is 3. Consider this array. So 10, 20 in one list, and then 30, 40 in another list. That will combine in another big list, right? So if you convert this Python list to the NP array, you will get it like this: 10, 20, 30, 40, right? It is same array, but it is converted to the ND array. Now if you see the dimensions, it is 2. Why it is 2? Because if you see, it has two levels, 10, 20, and if you go back, the 10, 20 list is one value and 30, 40 list is another value, right? That is why it has two dimensions. And shape, what is shape? It is 2 cross 2. So it has two rows and two columns. That is why it is 2 cross 2, right? And size, it has only 4 values in the ND array. That's why the value is 4. In the same way, you can just provide a single integer number to the np.array, right? Even though it will be converted to ND array. Also, you can force the array, numpy array, to be used one single data type. You can decide the data type as well using dtype. So I'm deciding these integers to be float values by using this dtype property, forcing this dtype to be np.float64. So everything in this array will be converted to float64. If it is not compatible, then it may show some error, right? So 10, 20, 30, they all are numbers, integer numbers. They will be converted to float without any errors. Now, as I said, you can provide multiple data types in Python list, right? But if you're coming to the numpy arrays, everything will be converted to single data type. That's why 10, 2.5, true, the boolean value on the string, everything is converted to strings. So all these values can be converted to the single data type, that is string. If you provide all numbers, it will be converted to float, right? That's how it works. Now you can also copy the values using np.array. So this is array 4, right, guys? If you provide np.array of array 4, it will be again giving a copy of this array 4. So we'll be storing it in A. And if you change A value, the 0th index A value, it doesn't affect array 4 because it is returning the copy of array 4, not the reference. That's why you see false here. If A is array 4, no, it is not. But if you don't want to copy and you just want to refer it, you send a reference, you store the reference in another variable, then you have to use np.asArray. So np.asArray of array 4, if you use it, it will return the reference to this array 4, instead copying it to the variable, right? You have changed 0 index for B, and if you see the output, array B and array 4. If B is array 4, yes, it is true, right? So that's how you assign the reference to another variable instead of copying using np.asArray. Now you remember the range function in Python list. Similar to that, we have a range function in NumPy. You can use np.arrange of 0, 10 to generate a sequence of 10 numbers from 0 to 10. It doesn't consider 10 value, same as range, right? So it produces 0 to 9, which is 10 numbers. And you can also provide a third parameter here, 2.5, like that, float values or integer values, where it evenly spaces out these 0 to 10 values, right? So first value is 0 and second value is 2.5 and third value is 5 and then 7.5. If we add 7.5 and 2.5, it becomes 10, right? But we don't consider 10. So that is why we are not printing 10 here. So 2.5 is like what is the gap you need between two values in this sequence. Okay. Same as 0, 10, 2.5, we can use 0, 1 again. But if you see 0 plus 2.5 is 2.5, which is greater than 1. So we are not considering it. We are only producing 0 here, right? Now, what if you want to produce 10 numbers? I don't care about the space between the numbers. That's where you use line space, np.line space, where you provide 0, 1 and third value as 10. What is 10 here? 10, you're saying to this function, I need 10 numbers between 0 to 1, okay, including 1 as well. So it produces 10 values between 0 to 1 that are evenly spaced, okay. That's how the line space function works. Now, coming to log space. What is log space? So line space is nothing but creating a sequence of numbers on the numerical number line, right? But if you want to create the numbers on logarithmic scale instead of numerical scale, then you use log space. So instead of creating a sequence of numbers from 0 to 1, it will create from 10 power 1 to 10 power 4, like that. So if you use log space of 1, 4, 3, what is the first value? Is start. What is the second value? It is stop. What is the third value? It is number of values. So it will start at 1 and end at 4, producing 3 values, right? Evenly spaced 3 values. So simply saying, it will take the values from 10 power start to 10 power end. So it produces the number of values you mentioned here as 3. It produces 3 values from 10 power 1 to 10 power 4 on logarithmic scale, right? So if you consider these are evenly spaced on logarithmic scale, okay. Another way to create these log space values is use line space. Use line space and convert that to 10 power of that ND array. So if you use line space, what happens? It produces the numbers like 0, 0 0.11, 0.22, like that, right? So what happens is if you use log space, it will be converted to 10 power 0, 10 power 0.111, 10 power 0.222, like that. So that's how the line space can be converted to logarithmic space. You can see here, right? So the next function is np.zeros. This function is very common to use for primary initialization in machine learning and data science, right? So you can provide the shape of this numpy array you want. It produces that shape numpy array with all values filled with 0, right? So every value in this array will be filled with 0 if you use np.0 and provide the shape of that array you want. You can also create multiple dimensions array, numpy array, using this np.0, right? So, but everything will be filled with 0. Similarly, np.ones, instead of zeros, this function fills everything with ones. Okay, this is also primarily used for initialization only. Then np.0 like and np.ones like. So what is this like again? So you don't know the exact shape you want to create, but you know this should be created using some other variable shape, right? That's where you use this. If you create an array of shape 256 and you don't know whether this array is 256 shape or 456 shape, whatever the shape it is, you want the same shape array with all values filled 0 or 1, right? So that's where you use np.ones like or np.zeros like. So like of you provide that numpy array, it will create the same shape, but every value is filled with 1 or 0 based on the function you use. Okay. The next function is np.empty. So what it does, it creates the mentioned shape and the array, but it fills every value randomly. It fills it very fastly. So we can use this np.empty. If you don't care about the values that are being filled, it will fill randomly with the same shape you provided in the function. Okay. Now np.full, what is this? It fills the values with the mentioned second parameter here, right? So you can provide the shape as first parameter and second one as the value you want to fill. It will fill every value in the array it's being created with that second parameter value. Okay. That's how np.full function is useful to us for constant initialization of the whole array. Now np.I or np.identity. So what it does, it fills the diagonal values alone. So if you use np.I of 2 or np.identity of 2 or 5, it creates that specific shape of array. It only creates a square array. Okay, like if you give 2, it will create 2 cross 2, and if you give 5, it create 5 cross 5, and then it will fill all the diagonal values with 1 only. This is called identity matrix, right? So hope you remember it. It will only fill the diagonal values with ones, and then rest of the triangle, upper triangle, lower triangle, everything by 0. Now np.diagonal. So np.diag, so the values we are providing here will be filled in the diagonal value of the matrix it is being created. So if you provide a list of 10 numbers, it will be creating 10 cross 10 matrix, filling all the values you provided in diagonal manner. Okay, you can also use this function to get the diagonal values out of an np array. So if you provide an np array to the diag function, you see the first 1 comma 4 is the diagonal values, right? So it is returning that 1 comma 4. That's how we can use it. np.random.rand function. So how does this function will be useful? This function is useful to create an array filled by random values again. Okay, you can provide whatever the values you want, whatever the shape you want in the np.random.rand. It will create the array with random values. Okay. Now what is the random value n? It will create a standard distribution for the values or the shape you have provided. It will not fill randomly, but it will fill in the manner create a standard distribution between all the values. Okay. And then random dot randint. So starting value is 2 and ending value is 10, right? It will take 4 values from 2 to 10. That will be random. We don't know which values it will take. The values might be repeating. It will take the 4 values from 2 to 10. In the same way, if you want to do different size, like size equal to 2 cross 2, it will create a 2 cross 2 matrix, but it will take all values from 2 comma 10. So 2 to 10, it will take all values from 2 to 10 randomly again. So these are the array creation functions, the most frequently used functions in any project. I hope you love this NumPy array video. Stay tuned for next typecasting video on NumPy. Thank you. Thanks for watching.